up, guys? Welcome back to Nature News. I'm your host, your hopefully favorite and least annoying climate activist, Spencer Miller. Or maybe your least favorite, depending on your occupation or political views. Speaking of which, I am only making this video for those who are going to listen to me and respect my viewpoint even if you disagree with me. Because while this topic is very serious, I am open to anyone's interpretation on this whole situation, even if I think that they're wrong. If you're going to be nasty, then I'm going to politely ask you to leave. But if you're going to be nice, then I'll respect you and we can be friends. Got that? Okay. Now, I'm a pretty apolitical person. I don't have a political identity. I don't endorse nor support any candidates because I try to stay out of that stuff here on this channel. I also can't vote yet because I'm 17. However, I won't be afraid to call out any politician who makes a decision that could literally radically alter this world in an irreversible way. I'm sure you guys know what I'm going to talk about. It's the Willow Project. I'm sure you Zoomers out there are all aware of what the Willow Project is. It's an enormous oil field in Willow, Alaska that an oil company called ConocoPhillips wants to dig up. The main reason for this is, number one, most obviously, money.
Here comes the money.
Number two, the belief that it will lower gas prices, which have put a stranglehold on our economy. And number three, they hope that it will bring prosperity to the Native American tribes living in that area due to the taxes that they can put on the oil barrels, which will help fund public infrastructure and schools. Sounds great, right?
Wrong.
Now, I want to make something very clear here. If developing or third world countries need to use fossil fuels in order to develop, then I'm fine with that. But America is already a prosperous country that can afford to radically change its main source of energy. The fact that we are continuing to allow oil companies to dig up oil and continue to damage our environment is absurd. Hell, our currency is even tied to Saudi Arabian oil. Let that sink in. Our currency is literally tied to a corrupt nation in the Middle East that abuses women's rights, has an absolute monarchy, and doesn't allow any religious freedom. America, fuck yeah! So how are they gonna drill for this, you might ask? Well, their method is to artificially freeze the ground because the permafrost is melting. Hold on, Spencer. Isn't it actually a good thing because they're refreezing the Arctic? Actually, no, because it's not real permafrost. Newsflash, the permafrost was never supposed to melt in the first place! By artificially freezing the ground over and over and over again, it will lead to more soil erosion and more decay in the area. They want to do this because it will allow the oil frackers to dig deeper into the ground. But that right there is just the tip of the iceberg. The main issue with this fracking project is that it will release oil that will be sold at a quantity that is twice the amount that is sold every day. Up to 180,000 barrels per day. That is roughly 65,700,000 barrels sold per year. In its lifetime, it could release up to 287 million metric tons of carbon emissions. To put this in layman's terms, that's the equivalent of adding 2 million cars on the road. It will also negatively affect the ozone layer. Yep, all that recovery and continued success for environmental organizations will all go to waste once again when the ozone hole gets ripped back open once again. Eventually, the sun rays will just penetrate the earth and fry the planet slowly. Last but certainly not least, the oil drilling will release potent chemicals into the Alaskan wilderness that will poison native plants, animals, and worst of all, the Native American people that the oil companies were quote-unquote helping. In fact, many other Native American tribes in the area have expressed discontent with the process of harvesting oil. Okay, so switching gears to my last point, due to the controversy surrounding and the extremely damaging effect this could potentially have on the ecosystem, the young, hopeful, intelligent, and
Slightly annoying
Gen Zers took to TikTok to protest. The oil project could only go into effect if President Biden approved it. Now, if you think that a good old jolly environmental activist and caring, patriotic person like Biden would actually approve this project, then you're out of your freaking mind. He approved it. And this is the thing that I'm most angry about. This is the reason why I decided to type this script and make this video. President Biden got elected promising to reduce the world's carbon emissions to net zero by 2050. And yet he does this! This man is a total fraud, plain and simple. I don't care what your political stance is, this should anger both sides because of the extreme hypocrisy. The drilling project unbelievably goes against Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which was meant to stop inflation while also developing clean energy. And then he does this! How brain dead do you have to be to ignore the protests that were going on? The majority of people did not want this to happen, and you spat in their faces by passing this. You know, this just goes to show how corrupt the world has become. While I do believe that 90% of the people on Earth are actually kind, polite, and intelligent, the 10% have taken over it and continue to worsen it. We can't trust politicians anymore because they're always lying their ways into office. We can't trust the owners and CEOs of big companies because they're always getting caught doing reckless things to their employees and the environment. And we most certainly can't trust the media anymore because they're always intent on spreading fake narratives and agendas. Heck, even the smartest people in the world like Elon Musk, we can't trust anymore because they've devolved into megalomaniacs. I feel like people don't support his cause to eliminate global warming anymore because when he bought Twitter, he didn't improve it. He continued to let it be a toxic mess, only in the opposite ways. Two wrongs don't make a right, Elon. I'm going to be voting in my very first election in 2024. But considering how unethical the politicians and both political parties are, if any of these guys get nominated, I don't think I can vote for them. I'll have to vote for third party. These people running from the supposed land of the free and home of the brave are making this country more scared and less free, and worst of all, even more divided. Wow, that was uncalled for. I'm literally out of oxygen. Sorry I went full TYT on you guys, but most of all, I'm sorry if I sounded very angry to you guys. But I want you all to know that I'm very passionate about this planet. I want to make sure that our species can survive and not dig our own graves. We are capable of change. Instead of thinking that we are the sheep who are being led by wolves, we should be the wolves leading the sheep. It truly takes all of us. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is ever going to get better. I feel like most of us care about the environment and don't want to destroy it. However, we all also play a part in damaging it. But that's not something to be ashamed of. Heck, I'll admit, I'm not perfect with it either. This phone that I'm recording this video with, I bet it burns coal or something. But I try. And that's what makes our species so amazing. I'm not saying you should go and sell your car and buy an electric vehicle or invest all your money into buying solar panels, but instead plant some trees to absorb those carbon emissions, or check your own emissions, or donate money to a conservation organization. These acts of kindness will influence others to do the same thing. It will ensure that our planet will stay happy and healthy. and therefore our species will continue our journey for a long, long time.